The system is broken. That it matters more than just a healthy baby. It matters about mom too.
This is not what we planned, and it's all just a blur, but I'm still the command, so I'm keeping my promise. I'll do all that I can to keep you safe. Now there's needles and wires that monitors blaring. This room's full of strangers and everyone's staring, but I'm focused on you.
Hi, I'm Tiffany. I'm doing this video for Ashley for her birth trauma series. I'm almost 28 years old. I have 4 beautiful children and a wonderful husband, who has supported me through all 4 of my births and all the different ways I've birthed. My experience is I went in with my first being only 18, went with the OB that I knew for my prenatal care for the one who I had seen for all my birth control and my yearly checkup needs, because I didn't know that I could find someone else. My pregnancy was completely normal, completely healthy, no gestational diabetes, no high blood pressure, no excessive weight gain. Perfect. Until it was time to go to the hospital. And I went in a couple times because I apparently have predominant labor that goes on and off. And I've learned this through my 3 other pregnancies that's just what my body does. So when I went in with my first, because I didn't know, we got admitted, even though it was only 4 centimeters. And I labored without anything, even though the nurses kept coming in. Are you sure you don't want some pain medication and everything else? And I was like, no, I'm fine. I've got this. I'm okay. And that's when things started to go downhill. I wasn't progressing fast enough for the doctor, so he broke my water. After he broke my water, my contractions started to space out and get inconsistent. Due to this and not progressing as fast as he wanted me to, he decided to start Pitocin and an internal fetal monitor and a catheter, which left me not being able to get up out of bed to move around. And once the Pitocin was administered, there were contractions upon contraction upon contraction. And I had been doing good to deal with them up until then. And then after that, I couldn't. And I was so exhausted and so tired when they came in again and offered me something. I decided to get a shot to take the edge off. When that didn't work, I agreed to the epidural. After I received my epidural, I slept for about an hour. The doctor came back in and did not check me again. Said that I had failed to progress and that my pelvis was too small for my baby and that I was going to have a C-section. And then I was wheeled off for my C-section and everyone was talking and joking and laughing. I was waiting for my husband to come in and they had already started surgery, so I was worried he was going to miss it. And I felt them cut me. And I told the doctor that, and he's like, no, you shouldn't. It's probably just pressure. And I screamed at him, I felt you cut me. And about that time, my husband walked in. He told them he couldn't come in because they were going to have to knock me out. They turned him around before I could say anything to him and knocked me out. And the next thing I remember is a big nurse very nicely asking me if I could grab his shoulder so he could get a sheet under me to take me to recovery. And I couldn't because I was so drugged. And then while I was in recovery, the nurses asked me about my baby, and I couldn't tell them anything because I didn't know. And then I finally got to hold my daughter, and I could barely hold her because of all the medication. And I cried and told her I was sorry because this was not how I wanted her birth to be. I barely remember most of the first 24 hours of her life due to all the drugs that I received. I later found out, almost 4 years after she was born, that according to my OB, my pregnancy was complicated by morbid obesity. And that was the reason for my C-section, and the fact that my pelvis was too small and I had failed to progress, and that I would never have a child vaginally. I didn't realize I had birth trauma until I met my doula that I had for the birth of my second daughter, when I chose to go for a VBAC at a completely different practice because I didn't have to fight with them to have the birth that I wanted. As you can see, I'm crying, so that tells you a little bit about how I feel and how it's impacted me. It impacted my postpartum experience because it was hard to nurse due to my incision and the pain meds. I had issues. My mom was so worried about me. She was getting ready to drag me to the doctor because I was depressed. I felt like I was broken, that something was wrong with me. But due to that, and finding out what I did, and finding the doula that I did with my second daughter, and the birth team that I used with my second birth, I figured out that I wasn't broken, and it wasn't my fault. It was just due to the simple fact that the system is broken, and that moms are pushed to hurry and hurry and hurry, and we have to fit this form, this curve of how we should progress and how things should go. And that's not how birth works. What have I done, or what am I doing to cope, to heal, to feel better? I talked about it a lot with my husband, with my mom, with my doula, with my birth team, with my birth teams. And I thought I was over it and I had got past it because I had a beautiful VBAC with a beautiful little girl in October of 2010 or 2013, 3 years after I had her sister via C-section in 2010. And then I went on to have a home birth with my first son in January of 2016. And then came our second home birth in February of 2018. And I thought I got past it. I had healed. And when my midwife suggested breaking my water because I had been laboring all night, I was tired, and we were into the next day, I cried. I broke down sobbing, saying not to break my water because it would end up the same way it did with my first birth. So now I'm sharing my story with any woman who asks or cares to listen, because I don't want another mom to go through this or to feel like this. I went through something and it changed me. It colored my opinion of myself and my body, and it shouldn't have happened. So now I'm speaking out to moms who need to hear that the fact that the system is broken. A lot of doctors do not care about your birth or how things turn out. That it matters more than just a healthy baby. It matters about mom too. So I beg you to understand that the doctors work for you. If you don't agree with the care you are getting, fire them. Find someone who backs your opinion, your wants, your needs, your vision of your birth, because you and your baby are worth it. And don't stop fighting until you get what you deserve, because you and your health And how your baby gets here matters.
You might remember Tiffany from my traumatic birth segment. I really wanted to share her story. What's important to take away from this is that we really need to listen to others and support them, no matter their birthing choices. What matters in birth is that the birthing person is respected. When it comes to birth, it's very impactful and you will remember it. You'll remember who cared for you and who didn't. Unfortunately, a lot of people are treated the way that Tiffany is. We are failing birthing people. Tiffany is 1000% correct. Our system is broken. If you've had a traumatic birth, know that you're not alone. Thank you for watching.